Good evening, everyone. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Supervisor McGlasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Present.
Councilman Totori will not be present. Councilman Ruthven?
Here.
Councilman Boyd?
Here.
Thank you. I make a motion to open the public hearing for the solar and battery moratorium.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So what we wanted to do tonight is, everyone knows that we put the battery moratorium in place, but we want to adjust it a little bit to allow residents to put solar panels on their houses. Right now, because of the moratorium, it's completely, you can't put them on at all, so we wanted to just change the wording in order to allow just residents to be able to install the solar panels.
And battery storage, right? And
Well,
the battery storage that goes along
with the
those.
solar
And
panels.
that's the point, is the way the moratorium was
Yes,
written.
it bans
prohibited
everything.
those. Yes.
I'm sorry, Kathy, I couldn't hear you.
I said, are you reintroducing it then? Because we're adding-
We did that last meeting.
Tonight, I think we're just gonna pass it so that way we can start installing, residents can start installing the solar panels again. Because Bill and I, how many calls have you gotten?
Oh, probably 15, 20, maybe a little bit more.
And they don't like what you say, so then they call me and I tell them the same thing.
Yeah,
I get them too.
Yeah, I know.
all I do is shuffle. If they don't like my answer, call the supervisor.
But they don't like my answer then, so.
And you tell them to call Bill.
Okay, any board comments on it?
So as long as
Yes.
it's limited to residential, and then the panels just on top of, like rooftop, garage
Yes.
top, not, a bunch of panels in someone's yard.
No, this is just, do you wanna come up, Bill? Yeah. But no, it's just the ones that go on the roof. It's-
Okay?
There's an exclusion for residential structures that serve no commercial purpose.
Okay.
Bill Walters, Building Inspector, Town of Kent. What we're looking to do is open up, give us a little relief on the moratorium to allow roof solar units to go back on the roof to be installed. When you did the moratorium, I know Ann was against it. I voiced my opinion, but we'd like to get that put back on. And I'd also like to get the smaller battery storage for the residential, not the big units. And that's what the moratorium was really centered again for, was the larger batteries, more cells, the industrial size. We're only talking, out of the 103 solar units that have been installed in the last years, only 13 houses have the lithium battery or lead battery storage units. And the highest that we've installed is up to 30 kilowatt. So we're not talking the large units, which is where the moratorium was really meant to be for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Okay. Someone want to read it?
Want to do that one, Ann?
Sorry. Not prepared here.
Oh, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, and now you,
You don't have to read this whole thing, right? Just the
Okay,
resolution.
it's awfully
It's
long.
amended.
I think it's just this that you have to
Just the
read.
resolution.
Just this part right here, this one short.
Yep.
Okay.
Adopting local law number 1.
Oh, wait.
You don't mind?
Ah,
Oh.
got it. Okay. I make a motion to adopt a resolution adopting local law number TBD,
1.
number 1 of 2025. Whereas a local law extending and amending a land use moratorium prohibiting lithium storage facilities was introduced as introductory local law 1, the local law of the year 2025, before the town board of the town of Kent on February 4th, 2025. And whereas the public hearing was opened on February 18th, 2025, and the public was invited to attend and be heard on the matter, now therefore be it resolved that introductory local law number 1 of 2025 is hereby enacted by the town board of the town of Kent as Local Law 1 of 2025 of the Town of Kent, and be it further resolved that a true copy of the law is attached hereto and made a part hereof. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our discussion of our reevaluation that's taking place in the town of Kent. I invite our assessor, Seth Klowski, up to the podium to discuss this with the town.
Seth Plowski, assessor, and I'm going to keep this very brief. We're at the point in the reval now where we are calculating impacts. We are going to be sending out impact notices, disclosure notices on what the new assessments are. And those should be going out, we're going to the printers, I believe, on the 25th. So give it a couple of days after that, and they should be in the mailboxes. No, that's pretty much about it. That's about all I can really say on that at this point. I did want to add, we're coming up on the deadline on taxable status, which is the deadline for all exemption applications. And if anybody knows of any seniors, please check in. We've been making courtesy calls to them, leaving a lot of messages. We are really behind schedule as far as the applications coming in, the renewals. And specifically with the reval, it's very important that people apply for whatever exemptions are available to them. So as it stands right now, I think we had about, I think it stood at 85. We're still outstanding. This is on renewal notices from last year. So if you know of anybody, just kind of give them a reminder. We're doing that as well, but that deadline's coming up real soon. So that's it.
Nope, hold on,
You-
before you go there.
Wait, hold on. So you can ask whatever you want, but you just have to come up to the microphone. Yes, please.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Eileen Cruz-Minnis, and my question is, if in fact, in terms of the notices that, renewal notices that went out, if one didn't receive one, where might they get it during this time, especially since the time is closing?
You can cut.
If you are needing an application, they're available online. If you are needing an application, they're available online. You can call our office. We can help walk you through that process of getting the application. You can stop by the office.
Online.
You can stay. That's okay. So
Online. Where online?
You know what? It's probably best if you just call the office. You can Google the application. It's called the aged all exemption or the senior exemption. You can Google it, and usually comes up first link. But if you're in doubt, just give a call to the office. We'll walk you through the process, or you can just come in and we'll land you one.
And the office number is?
845-225-8020. Open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday.
And would that be what I'm seeing under exemptions on the assessor's part of the website?
To tell you the truth, I've been so sidetracked, I haven't made sure that I have the most current version of the application
Okay.
linked.
Yep.
I think it's accurate, but I don't want to just say, do that. Anybody else?
Yeah, so Seth, when they get what are they looking for in a postcard before it goes from the mail into the garbage? Is it, have a Town of Kent seal on it? What are they looking for? Does it say your property tax?
It's going to be in an envelope because it's going to come from GAR, but it's going to have all of our information on it as well. We're directing people to contact, when you get the notices, if there are any issues, if you disagree, there's going to be instructions on how to deal with it, who to speak with. We're going to be holding informal hearings on this as well. We understand some people are going to be upset with their new assessments. It's only natural. So there is an informal hearing process on that. Go ahead.
And where would the informal hearing process take place?
Tell you the truth, we're going to try to handle them virtually. or over the phone. Yes, I have to tell you, I'm ill-prepared for this because I am not sure what they're going to do as far as people who wish to be heard in person.
So how do we make sure that all the information is in one place, available, accessible to everybody with the current application, et cetera?
We can add everything to the website, can't we? To your,
Well, we're setting up a separate website for this.
but we can put the link on our website that directs them to.
Yes, we can do that. It'll be included with the actual notice.
So you'll get it in the mail where you have to go, but we can also put it on the assessor page on the town website, a link to also take you there.
Yes, we'll duplicate everything on the website as well. GAR, that's the company that we contracted to assist us with the revaluation. GAR, appraisal.
So when you say virtual, what do you mean, like Zoom?
Yeah,
Individually?
yeah. Yeah.
So there's not going to be a formal group hearing?
No, not for that, it's not gonna be a group hearing, no. No, if for any issues or grievances, they'll be heard on an individual basis. Because they're specific to each property.
That doesn't make sense, it's just, when you say hearing, thinking a place where there are lots of people
Right.
having a discussion.
Maybe hearing's not the right word.
Probably. An informal,
Individual,
Consultation?
Consultation.
yes.
There we go.
perfect, that works for me.
Think of like a parent-teacher conference, one-on-one.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have nothing to vote on tonight for this. This was just an item to discuss. So our next item is our EMS. I invite David Rains, our EMS director, up here to give us an update, go over an ALS intercept agreement, and I think we're also going to hire a few part-time people tonight. Did I get everything?
Thank you for your
That
time,
was,
guys.
so that was added late. I can show you. It's 3 people.
So first, David Rains, I'm the EMS Program Coordinator for Town of Kent. Just want to show you guys, so the monastery bought us all pullovers, Town of Kent on the back, and then I had the EMT patch and the Kent EMS patch sewn on all of them, so everybody has one of these. And they also bought us winter jackets, which break down to summer raincoats by taking the liner out. So that was really cool. We sent them a thank you to the monastery, and so that was awesome. Real quick, so I'm going to do this. I don't have to come up here every month, but sorry.
And just to be clear, so the monastery paid for all of that? It was a separate, they took care of it all, nothing came to the town?
No, they paid direct. I'm sorry, I should have been
Yes.
clear.
No, I'm
They
just
paid
making-
directly. They wanted us to buy it from a local vendor. We did, and they paid directly. What the town paid for was sewing the patches on. We already had the patches. They had been pre-purchased last year. So the town paid to have the patches sewn on at Kent Cleaners. Okay? So I'll be submitting a similar report every month. I'm not going to come in front of you every month unless there's a reason. So I'll send it prior to your second meeting of each month, so you have the previous month's data, so everybody's up to speed. But I'll run through this real quick since it's our first time through. So this is the analytics for all of January. 111 calls. We covered 92 with the Town of Kent ambulance. We transported 65 patients, which is typical. About 70% of calls in Putnam County result in a transport. 5 calls were canceled, 13 were refusals. Typically, those are motor vehicle accidents or falls with your just helping somebody back up. We did have one deceased individual, which was managed by the police, and then 8 lift assists with no transport. So again, 111 calls in January, which is 22% over last January. Not sure why, so maybe I'm cursed. But so out of 100% of 9, I'm sorry, out of 100% of the 911 calls, we covered 83% of those calls. The reason we covered 83 is that 17, in the other 17%, we were already on a first call and there was a second or third call. This month alone, we've had 4 days where we had multiple calls within 40 minutes. So we had one day where we had 4 calls within 40 minutes and another day where we had 3 calls in 40 minutes. It's hit or miss. But all the calls were covered in a timely manner. We still have Lake Carmel Ambulance, Lake Carmel Fire Department Ambulance supporting us, or we're really supporting them from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday to Friday, where they have an in-house crew, and they're running first due. We will be changing that shortly. So 16 calls for service originated at Putnam Nursing and Rehab. Just to give you a sense, that's about 17% of our calls. We transported 11 patients to Danbury, 1 to Hudson Valley, 50 to Putnam Hospital, and 3 to Westchester Medical. And those calls to Westchester Medical and Hudson Valley, it's like a 3-hour round trip, so it's a lot. But when we need that level of care, Hudson Valley is a level 2 trauma center, as is Danbury, and Westchester is a level 1. So 22 patients, and this rolls into what you guys will be talking about shortly, 22 patients required advanced life support, which is 33% of what we transported. So they were transported with an Empress Medic at $305 a shot. 43 patients were transported basic life support with no ALS required. Our average response time to scene is 12 minutes, which is pretty good for where we are here in Lake Carmel, town of Kent. Average time spent on scene is about 24 minutes when there's a paramedic involved, and then 21 minutes when there's not. And the call average time on a call is 77 minutes. We're trying to really get better at flipping around to the hospital and getting back. Primary call types, and there is a typo, I apologize, there was an extra number. There's 5 call types that are primary. General weakness, shortness of breath, abdominal pain, back pain, and altered mental status. So we're not seeing a lot of traumas, which is great. We're not seeing a lot of motor vehicle accidents, so that's kind of our mainstay. As far as equipment, the town highway helped us out. They put new tires on the ambulance for us. The rear tires were pretty bald. They adjusted the brakes. They put a new sensor in that was giving us a warning light. We've developed an excellent relationship with the police department. They're very happy to have us around. They're not waiting around now for 40 minutes for an ambulance, but they've been a great partner in initiating care and also updating us while we're en route to tell us, what's going on with the patient. Is the patient laying in the driveway, etc. So that's been great. We've been drilling on a regular basis with both the Kent and the Lake Carmel Fire Department. So that's my report. For February, just to give you a sense, so we're at, was today the 18th, 19th? So we're at 67 calls, 67 dispatches. We've covered 59 of them, and the other 8 have been second or third calls. So we do get a lot of those, like we did today. We had a motor vehicle accident and a diabetic emergency at the same time today. So we're on track for another probably 100 call month this month. So I met with the billing company yesterday. No, I'm sorry, Friday. I met with the billing company Friday, and it looks really good. I mean, there is a lag time, but the private insurance responses have been very positive. I think we're going to get a good 70% of the return on the $120,000 that we billed. So that's from the beginning, and that would be great. Just unfortunately, there's going to be a lag time. I believe we received our first check on Friday. I have to check with the new accountant, but I believe we received our first check from the insurance company on Friday. So Medicare is scheduled to do an inspection, so Jamie doesn't go to jail, because Medicare fraud is huge in the United States. So they want to come out and verify we actually have a building and an ambulance and there's people there, because they explained to me on the phone that 2 out of 10 applicants are fraudulent, and there's nothing there but a P.O. box. So they're going to be coming out. They won't tell us when. They're not going to do an interior inspection. They're just going to verify that there is an ambulance and that there are people functioning. So once that happens, we should get notice within 30 days that we have our Medicare number, and then within 30 days of that, we should have the Medicaid number, and then we'll be at 100%. All the billing will be back billed to December 12th. So we really won't lose anything. The only thing we would have lost was the 8 or 9 calls that were handled in 2024 prior to that. Any questions?
Excellent.
Okay. So I know you have the ALS Intercept agreement. I did review it. I met with Brewster and Patterson to ensure that it was very similar, which it is. The bottom line, when a paramedic rides on our ambulance and provides ALS or advanced life support to a patient and transports, we will receive an invoice from Empress Ambulance for $305 for that service, and they'll bill us monthly. What we'll do is we'll audit that invoice prior to it coming to you guys with the billing company and myself or a designee to ensure that that call was our call, that there was certainly a paramedic on there, and that the patient care report indicates that the ALS service was provided. There's been a lot of anomalies on bills throughout the county where they get the wrong agency, the wrong ambulance, the wrong hospital. So we'll validate that, send a validated invoice to you guys on a monthly basis.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you very much. And then we're just, so why don't we vote on the ALS Intercept agreement first? And then I have to add one item to the agenda just to hire. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
So we're not really hiring Empress, we're just hiring when a person gets on the ambulance.
For when we need advanced life support, for advanced life support calls.
Right, but let's say they show up when the ambulance shows up, like they have been. Mm-hmm. We're not paying for them then unless
Only
they
if,
come on.
only if they physically have to get on the ambulance because of the severity of the call.
Okay, because
Just because they show up does not mean
Right,
that
well,
they're.
that wasn't clear, that it sounded like we were now hiring a private one on top of ours, so.
This is an agreement so that they understand that they will get paid if we are in need of them for a call.
Okay, and someone was sick and they asked me if I could ask these questions, and so I don't know. How much Empress would charge a non-Medicare person? It's the same because it's 305? Is that?
Repeat that question.
The person wanted to know how much Empress would charge a non-Medicare person.
Empress will not charge anybody in the town of Kent. The bill comes to the bill does not go to the
person.
patient, it comes to the town. So the county.
We bill the patient. Empress
I
bills
just want
us.
to make it clear how the process works. So the county contracted with Empress. So each town that has an ambulance has this agreement. So when the paramedic, this is just for paramedic service, when the paramedic comes on board our ambulance and transports on our ambulance, they will then give us a bill for $305. That bill does not go to the patient. Okay? The patient, whether it's an ALS call or a BLS call, basic or advanced, we soft bill that patient's insurance company. So whatever we recover, that's it. There's no collections, it's just a soft bill.
Okay.
Okay, so they shouldn't be dissuaded from calling by going, oh my gosh, it's gonna cost me X
Right.
dollars, right? So it's only a soft bill, we only recover what Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance covers, and if it's zero, it's zero.
Okay,
Okay.
so Empress will still be with the county, but it's just gonna, okay, that makes much more sense
Okay.
than what we kind of thought. And the other question was, to get a price of what our own EMTs would cost, you might not have that tonight?
We do have our own EMTs,
Okay. do you
and
have-
that's where we're operating right now, and all the EMTs get paid $20 an hour.
Okay, and how
And
many-
they're all part-time, but we will have 20 at the end of tonight. Okay?
And basically 2 work per shift.
2 per shift, right?
The only time we had more is when we needed for the monastery for
Correct.
certain events, but
Yeah.
it's generally two employees per shift. Okay,
Good?
so yeah, so let's vote on the agreement first,
I
one thing at a time.
I make a motion to pass a resolution to approve ALS Intercept Agreement. Whereas the Town of Kent EMS is responsible for providing basic life support, BLS, and ambulance transportation to town residents and visitors, and whereas the town desires to contract to have advanced life support, ALS, capability available to all residents and visitors. And whereas the town has received a ALS intercept agreement between the town and Empress, pursuant to which Empress will provide ALS service to the residents of and visitors to the town through December 31st, 2025. A full and complete copy of said agreement is annexed hereto and hereby made a part hereof. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approves the ALS intercept agreement through and including December 31st, 2025, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all agreements and other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution in a form satisfactory to the town, to the supervisor and the town attorney if requested. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to add an item to the agenda for EMS for hiring.
Anderson's in there.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are good? Aye, I can hire.
Oh, aye,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
I
aye.
know.
Chatting.
I'm just gonna wing this, and then I'll pass this along to you, Lon. I have all the information.
Okay.
I make a motion to hire EMTs at a rate of $20 an hour, pending all drug and background checks, with an estimated start date of February 24th. They've all completed their Putnam County applications and have been placed on the list. So I make the motion to hire Mary Rhoda, Esther O'Rourke, and Eli Rubenstein. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you pass that to Lana for me, just so she has all that? Thank you. Okay. Next item is more of just an FYI. For the month of March, we're changing the meeting dates. They will be March 11th and March 18th. So it's just the first date that we're moving back by a week. So, anyone have anything to say about it? We're all good?
Good.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is from our highway department. We received a formal letter notifying us that Sean Daly will be formally retiring from the Town of Kent Highway effective February 27th. Sean's been with us for a very long time. We wish him the best of luck in his next endeavor. Does someone want to?
Want to read that one?
Yep. I make a motion for a resolution recognizing the retirement of Sean Daly. Whereas effective February 27th, 2025, Sean Daly is retiring from his position with the Town of Kent Highway Department. Whereas the Town of Kent wishes to recognize Sean Daly and give thanks for his service to the town, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent recognizes Sean Daly on his retirement with gratitude, appreciation for his service and to the town. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I've known Sean for a long time, since school, went to school with him, and it'll be a loss to the town, you know, his knowledge, and he was a good leader while he was there, so,
He
yes.
told me not to worry because he's actually moving on to, he's gonna be doing something with the union, so he said, you're not getting rid of me that easy.
So, either way,
So.
good luck, Sean. Mm-hmm. Sorry to miss you here. We'll miss you.
Okay.
You guys share a name, you have something in common.
Yes, we do, he just spells it incorrectly.
I make a motion to add an item to the agenda for prison grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we had a project last summer, fall, that was funded by the Regional Partnership for Invasive Species Management, PRISM, and that funded an educator who was at White Pond informing people who were putting in their boats in the water to make sure that they didn't have any invasive plants on their boats and that kind of thing. We'd like to run that program again this coming summer. It's a $5,000 grant, so I'm just looking for town board approval to go ahead and advance that application. So I move that we go ahead and reapply for another $5,000 prison grant for the boat steward at White Pond. I think it will also include a training video.
And nothing comes out of our pocket, it's fully
Right,
funded.
there's no match on this one. It's fully funded by
it's-
prison.
Yeah. It'd be on the town website. Did you make a motion on it?
Yes, I did.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, we have a question?
Oh, sorry.
Is there any signage at White Pond that tells anybody who comes with their boat and has a look online what they should and should not do?
I think there is a station there where they collected
there is.
debris? Yeah.
So the question is there any signage at the lake shore? That's the
Yeah, I
answer
think
to it.
there is at Waypoint.
There's something by the boat launch there, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a state-owned property, so it's not in the town of Kent's jurisdictional part of it, other than that we're doing the right thing. There's a lot of people there on weekends in the summertime, so we're just trying to stop that spread of invasive
There's a
species.
sign with the state statute on it.
Yeah.
Not the town. Okay,
Good on vouchers now?
yep,
Ready?
you're up.
I ask the board to approve the following vouchers from February 18th, 2025. Appalachia, I don't know how to say that, $49,253.22 for highway salt. Capital Markets Advisors, $3,500 for bond anticipation notices and finance. Credit card services, $13,780.55 for the Town of Kent credit card. H.O. Penn Machinery Company, Inc., $144,073.54 for highway truck rentals, municipal repair tool rentals. Magna 5, $7,512.75 for the Town of Kent server and the backup. Managed Technologies, $3,097.08 for the Town Hall IT services from February 10th to February 23rd, 2025. Municipal repairs, $27,236.08 for chargebacks for the Kent Highway from January of 2025. Municipal repairs, $3,988.56 for chargebacks for the Kent Police Department from January of 2025. Nielsen Dodge Chrysler, $51,328.11 for the Kent Police Department Dodge Durango grant reimbursement. NICEAG, $3,469.18 from Town Hall, February 2025. Pitney Bowes, $3,000 for the Town of Kent postage meter. Putnam County Sheriff's Department, $5,000 for the balance for yearly maintenance PD tech software. Laura Roberts, $2,970 for the Town Prosecutor from January of 2025. Westchester Police Academy, $3,053 for Police Officer Brian Cha-Cha for police class. Wind Waste Innovations, $7,643.88 for Lake Carmel garbage from January 27th through the 31st of 2025, and Wind Waste Innovations, $7,170.13 for Lake Carmel garbage from February 3rd to February 7th of 2025. I'm also adding Royal Carting Service Company, $4,661.52 for recycling garbage. And these last three are from 2024. Cornerstone Associates, $5,000 for Stormwater Consultant, Prism Grant Coordinator from December of 2024. Cornerstone Associates, $2,500 for the Stormwater Consultant from September of 2024. And Cornerstone Associates, $2,500 for Stormwater Consultant from October of 2024. I ask the board to approve as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Announcements are, we'll start with recreation. We have lots of programs open right now. Softball's open, baseball is open. Our farmer's market application is currently open, so if you have a business that you would like to come and set up our once-a-month farmer's market, you can find it on the website. And then also, I can't believe we're announcing this already, but it's around the corner. We just opened up our Easter egg hunt registration. It will take place on Saturday, April 12th, with a rain date of April 19th. We have all different times depending on ages, but just visit the town website and sign up soon because this fills up very, very, very quickly.
I'm still eating chocolate hearts.
Really? They last you that long?
I've been sick.
Okay.
Can't eat that much.
That's all I have for now.
I have a few from the library, as always. You can get up to a 10% discount on your motor vehicle collision and liability insurance premium for up to 3 years and up to a 4-point reduction on your driving record if you come to the defensive driving course at the library on Saturday, February 22nd, running from 9 to 3. And the library is looking for a new board member. You can find the details of what's involved for service at the library board on their website. And I know if Jormer were here, he would be talking about the Rotary Community Basketball Challenge, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be on March 1st, 2025, 9 a.m. at the Carmel High School gym. And apparently the Friends of the Kent Library are involved. And if you want to learn more about that, you can stop by to see the Friends of the Library. Thank you.
Good.
It's super cold outside, and
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. And so freezing pipes is big right now. Some of the easiest things you can do to keep the pipes in your house from freezing, if you've got a sink or something like that on an exterior wall where it's cold, open the cabinets up, lets the heat from the room in there, and much less likely to freeze. Anywhere when it's windy like this, drafts, crawl spaces, stuff like that. If you can make sure those drafts don't get in, stops freezing, stops bursting. It's expensive to fix burst pipes, and it's very simple to open a cabinet door, keep them from freezing. You're welcome.
Aren't you taking business away from yourself?
Yeah, in a way, because I do not like frozen pipe calls. So.
Okay, any public comment?
I don't know if you want me to talk about this tonight or wait till you get your papers, but I have questions about the proposal from last week for Barton and LaJudas. Well,
Ask away.
One of the things was you're taking, you have in the proposal about discussion of taking over the plant. And you and I have had many discussions on this, and I don't know why we would spend money on something that, if they go bankrupt, the town, it's in the map plan and report, the town would be taking it over anyways. And they got a $2.4 million grant. It was a public-private relationship with the town and through the East of Hudson funds. So I don't know why we would waste money on that part.
Who got the grant for the $2.4 million?
I did.
And when?
When I got the $6 million from the DEP, the county had the East of Hudson funds, and they approved the $2.4 million going to them to build that plant.
Yeah. So it's over a decade ago you're referring to, those monies.
Yeah, 11 years that we still don't have answers.
Okay.
to things.
And in that, the writing that Barton LaJudas did, it's not saying we're going to buy it. What they're doing is they're going to look at every possible avenue to improve the system. And to say 100% we're not going to buy it would be silly, right? You have to.
Why would it be silly?
Because then you're not looking at a potential. When we're looking at it, we want to look at every possible avenue.
With what money would you be buying it with?
I'm going to leave that up to them, and that's something to figure out. If they say, you know what, it's 100% not a viable thing to do, then great, it's not a viable thing to do. If they say, hey, if it's a very viable thing and you can get grant monies to do this in a great way, then we'll go.
Even if you had
towards it.
grant money, Sean, you'd have to take it over. And that's going to cost money on a yearly basis, and 62 parcels cannot do that. And it says, we will review the current ownership of the system facilities and engage in a meeting with the Kent Manor and the town to discuss a path forward for the town to consider purchasing the facilities.
Consider. Right? Everything is within consideration.
Again,
If
it's
you-
a waste of money and time for them to even study it because there's going to be no money to take it over, even if you got a grant. This was a $6 million project. It took 5 years. Let it go the natural way. If they're going to, they already sold Kent Manor, so all they have is this wastewater treatment plant. And they'll probably give it up. And then we have to take it. But right now, I don't even know why it's being considered.
I like to consider everything.
Well, I guess you're not paying for it, so it doesn't matter.
Yep, I am paying for
You're
it.
not paying for it. The cost distribution, you mentioned that the board does not want to defer costs to those currently on the sewer system. That's what you said in the minutes.
Please repeat that.
That you mentioned that the board does not want to defer costs to those currently on the sewer system.
Are you referring to the cost of this engineering project?
Yes, correct.
Yes. I also advocated to spread that as a town expense because if we solve the issue of how we allocate gallons of capacity, we can support more development along the Route 52 corridor, which benefits the entire town. I think everybody wants to see appropriate scale commercial development that will help bring taxes
Well,
down.
that's what I would like to see too, that it's the whole town expense, because the whole thing that started this was the town board didn't understand the whole concept of the sewer district. So, if you paid somebody a few thousand to sit down and explain it, but they're like reinventing the wheel here. So if you're going to do that, then it is a town expense. Don't put it on people that already went through this. We had a public hearing, $6 million was paid from the DEP, and we had to just pay to have our hookups, each individual property. And that's what we were told, not to have more expense to study other areas. So that's what, it was very confusing if you watch the video and the minutes, where this money's coming from. There was no definite of where this money was coming from. How do you approve hiring an engineer without knowing where the money's coming from? I don't understand that. No?
Well, I will say that the work that is being done is also going to put us in line for grant funding. In fact, we're looking now at an opportunity that would fund meters, which is something we all agree would be
Right.
good to do. And so it may well be that some of the work that B&L is going to do is going to help put us in line to go after that grant.
Okay, well, I don't see that in
And then
the,
there was also an intention to apply for an additional grant that is already spelled out in the contract that we have with Barton and LaJudas.
about the meters?
No, there's an additional grant that they're planning to put in for in July.
Because I don't see the meters.
The opportunity with the meters is brand new. We
Okay.
just got word about that last week. And so one thing we need to find out, and I intend to speak with Barton and LaJudas about this, is whether the work that they're doing would provide us the documentation we need for this additional grant. And I'm waiting to hear back from the grant firm about exactly what we need in the way of engineering work to apply for the water meters.
So do we know where the money is going to come for the 36,000?
So I would say that we haven't determined it because we didn't want to just throw it on the people who currently are using the sewer district.
Right, that's what you said.
And then we have the people that have allotments that don't
Right.
pay into it at all.
Correct.
And that the town would benefit overall also. So we just haven't broken it down into exactly how we're going to pay for it, but it's certainly a benefit to the town. And I know
I
you're
just
saying
want to
that
make
there's...
sure I'm not paying for it, Sean, because I already paid for my stuff, okay? If you want to go further, that's fine. And I do agree with you with the vacant parcels. But I guess there was a reason to get the $500,000 grant, $500,000 into the kitty if people were to buy those they have them, they own them, they have allotments, but nobody's using it. But there is no process even if they come in front of us.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, well, it's for us to make the process, right? And we have to be advised on how to make the process. That's why we're hiring Barton and LaJudas. So how many people currently have meters on the system, that are on the system?
on the meters?
How many people on the sewer district have meters?
How would I know, Sean?
Weren't you here
You're the
with the
town
whole
board
thing? I don't know,
member.
you just come up like
I'm
you know everything, but you
2014,
don't know
that was 2014,
No,
Sean.
you don't know because the system is such a mess, right? It's not well
Sean,
planned.
you make comments and you have nothing to back it up.
I just asked you how many people
But
have
how would
meters.
I know?
You
I'm
can't.
not there.
So who-
2014
who
that
put this
was,
whole thing together?
Sean.
You
That
were
was
here?
11 years ago,
I don't know how you
Sean.
come up, like you say, like you know everything because you were
I
there when it
didn't
started.
know everything.
but
I'm
now you don't know a
asking the
basic thing.
questions. and
Excuse
you're
me, I
coming
don't
with
think this is
frivolous
getting us
answers.
anywhere. Let's try to have
Yeah,
some
I know.
civil
Well, then
conversation about moving forward. I certainly would have preferred to have a more concrete plan for how this would be funded before we voted on it, but I was comfortable with leaving it open because I think it's time sensitive. We need to move ahead,
It's time
even if
sensitive,
the
but-
town pays for the whole thing. So perhaps we
But
need to
Ann,
have
the
another
proposal was in
resolution.
6 months ago.
Yeah, perhaps.
Just saying, the proposal was in 6 months ago.
It actually did not come to us that quickly, even though it was backdated, but that's a moot point. The point is, we do want to move
Well, we saw it
ahead.
once as a committee. We saw it once. We were told to, think about questions and everything. It never came up, so all of a sudden it was on last week.
Right, and
You
so
know,
now that
Because
we
of the
finally.
grants, the
Yeah,
grant opportunity, that's what really
Yeah.
pushed it on.
Yeah, so now that we
They
finally.
mentioned it in October, so
Yeah.
you guys had this in September, or you're
Who
saying
mentioned it in
backdated.
October?
Huh?
Who mentioned what in October?
That there was a grant that they wanted to do in the summer.
What grant?
Barton and LaJudas
Yeah,
at our
are you
meeting
referring to the
with
grant that we're
Eric
talking about,
and
or
Dawn.
you have some other grant that you're referring to?
I'm talking about what Ann's just talking
So
about.
That just
I
came
don't
to
think
us
there's
the other
any.
day, so it
Who's
could not
on
have
first?
possibly have been at that meeting. So you not having the right grants.
Different
Different grant
grants.
Just
opportunity.
came up last week.
Excuse me, I don't know if there's value in trying to look back and figure out the exact date that we finally got the proposal that we were then prepared to advance to the public. It was not the time you think. It was much
Okay.
more recent. Bottom line, we want to move ahead. Again, I would
Right.
have preferred to have
And there's a
concrete-
committee, and we only met once.
Right. I would have preferred to have a concrete proposal for how it's being funded, but the town is definitely going to fund it, and perhaps we need to have another resolution at a future meeting about the specifics of that.
Yeah, I
But-
would say so. I don't
Yeah.
think it's responsible to sit there and say, well, I'm not sure how we're paying for it, but
But we also don't think it was responsible to let these grant opportunities slip through that we could apply
but
for.
Jamie, we hear that with every single grant, that it's like all of a sudden it's a time issue.
Well,
and stuff like
unfortunately, Ann can
Right.
attest, they.
Usually by the time the RFP is out, it's too late to
It's too
apply.
late to
So you
apply.
have to watch them from the previous year.
Okay, so we got that, but I just want to know how we're
Yep.
paying for it.
Yep.
Okay, Nancy, you said that there were conflicting agreements. Stated that there are many agreements in place and some competing rights and obligations do not align with each other. Can you be more specific?
Not at this point in time, not right now, but if you want to set up a time to talk about them.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that, thank you. The engineering, Mary, when the board will be meeting with the engineers, are the sewer district committee members also meeting?
That's a Sean question, because Sean's the head of that committee, or he's the liaison.
I
As a
would,
liaison.
I would definitely ask participation from whoever wants to, but yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I'd like to be part of these meetings, and I'm sure Dr. Kulik would. I can't speak for the other ones, because I haven't talked to them.
Yeah, we've had
But-
several meetings, right? We sat
had-
with Barton LaJudas, you, myself, Dr. Kulik. Well, Barton LaJudas only came to the one meeting, but we've had other meetings.
Not since that meeting.
Because there's nothing that's really moved since
Well,
that
we
meeting.
could have talked more about it. Future expansion of the proposal, okay, the future you mentioned about, that's why the town might pay for it. Breakdown of the sewer district, okay. So we were talking about I wanted to ask about the metering and monitoring of the usage. So you're saying that there is a grant for metering?
We just got word of a new set of grant opportunities, and it does appear that meters is one of the things that can be applied for.
Okay.
We're
Because we
looking
know
into
that,
it.
we know that only a few people have meters.
Right.
On the system.
Well,
Correct.
only 2 hand-in meter readings.
Correct. And as everybody's supposed to have a meter, right?
Yeah, and other people have them, but they didn't know when I've talked to them. They've said, oh, I thought the town comes in and checks. It's like in their basement and, the garage, whatever. And they said, I thought the town came. I go, no, you're paying full freight because you haven't handed it in.
So we've had 11 years of non-enforcement on this. Nobody knows.
Absolutely.
So when the point of this is to have Barton LaJudas come in, straighten it all out. And when you go to apply for grant dollars, we all know that you first have to go to an engineering company who then determines the parameters of what needs to be done. And then we go to the government, put our hand out and say, can we please have money for this?
That's not what I see in the,
That's how it works on every single project.
it's not what I see in their proposal. The fees associated with the system, operation and maintenance, we've been asking for a year.
So I have yet to sign off on the paperwork to pay them. So I think that we'll have a sit down if they want to check.
No, but okay, so
Yeah.
have you told them that we're not paying, or you're not paying?
We've emailed them, back and forth, working with Nancy, so.
Well, just
you know,
because I don't want them to all of a sudden turn off the system and everybody's sewer backs up because we didn't pay them.
I'm sure at some point we'll get that phone call, a returned email.
Oh, you'll get a phone call, all right.
And, when they want to get a check, you can only knock on their door so many times they don't answer, right, kind of thing. That's what really an email is. And so if they want to pay, get paid, sit down, have a good, nice conversation, find out what we need to find out. We'll sign off on the vouchers and they'll get paid. So, that's negotiating, it's bargaining, right? If they're not going to answer our questions, we have to force them to the table somehow, and that's one way of doing it.
So there's properties in the sewer district that have not yet connected.
As far as like actual building structures?
Right, that are there, that we've talked about it, about them, that they are not connected at all.
Yeah,
There's only a few, but there are people that are not connected that are in the sewer district.
correct. And did some of them ask, like, because they didn't have the money to afford it at the time?
And that was
being
years ago,
installed or
but
something?
yes.
A couple of those properties, right? Is that,
Well, only one of those that I know of that particular issue, but the other ones, I don't know what the issue
and I think they
is.
still actually pay into the system, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so
But you need that extra flow, because you're only using the 10%. So if you're worried about having enough flow there, then you need to make sure that everybody's hooked up.
yeah, that's like at the lowest
I'm
ring of
just saying,
worrying
you
about
need
it. They're
everybody.
paying us money and not using it all, so I'd rather get the people who aren't paying, but yet we have to keep the building up, for them. Those would be the
We should
the
make
lots
sure that everybody is hooked up and metered.
Yeah, like for the last 11 years, which is why we're having Barton LaJudas do this? Yes, you're correct.
except that's not the that's why I would have liked to have talked about this at another meeting. The master plan update, it's like, you know, again, if you're going to go further with this, you need to update the master plan so that it all kind of ties in to this. And also, what are we doing with Kent Manor? Kent Manor sold. So, you know, I mean, March now, 2025, they have to pay full taxes. Their time is up. So if they're not going to build, maybe making, you know, a contract with them saying, let us put an extra well in and put let the private septic callers put their sewage in there, so that would help us with the sewer system. And we could get that money to us, to the you know, sewer district.
Yeah, we actually had a meeting the other day with a representative of the county talking about, was it like recycling and garbage waste and, you know who it is, right?
Alona Campo?
Yeah, I
Appointments
believe that's
work
correct,
coordinator
yep.
for the county?
And I brought that up in conversation with her about pumping out of local honey wagons, if you want to call them that, and as a revenue for us, because the plant was only being used at 10% of its capacity.
Right.
So there are conversations that go on with that, that we're doing right now.
With Kent Manor?
Well, we haven't included them in, so.
Well, so where would they, I would think that you'd have to start with Kent Manor, because they'd have to be agreeable to let us do that on their plant.
Yeah, and they don't really want
And their
to-
thing is that they have not kept up with their end of the bargain.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 11
I
years.
think we're putting the cart way before the horse here. We don't own the plant, we don't own Kent Manor, we don't own any of this. So
Yeah.
we gotta kind of see how it all plays out. before
Right,
we
but
do
I guess I would have liked more, I would have liked to have met with them again and got more clarification on this proposal, because the day that they were talking about it, it was very confusing. I did bring up that I was concerned about purchasing the thing, and he said, oh, we could take that out. They didn't. You know, again,
Well, it's a proposal to look at the options, like Councilman Boyd said. I think we have to look at all the options. I personally, right now, sitting here, am completely against purchasing that sewer treatment
Right.
plant, 100%.
Right.
But I want them to vet it out and give me all the facts and the details about it so I understand it better. And that was the whole point right from the very get-go with them, is give us all the options and all the details so we can sit down and make some informed decisions. Because I like to say I don't know something about this whole thing, but I really don't know something about this whole thing.
but that's why I would like to be part of it, because I knew about the grant, I know about that issue, and that Kent Manor has been sold.
But that's not under, my purview to know those contracts, right? I mean, how do we get a right to see these contracts? Do we have, does the town have a right to see the contract?
You don't have to get a contract, you could just go to the assessor's office and say who owns it. But that's Kent Manor, and I'm talking about the wastewater
Two
treatment
different
plant.
entities.
Yeah.
They own it.
Different entities.
Whitney Singleton, Kevin Young, Charlie Mortabano, they all own it.
I have emailed him as well and gotten nothing back.
Yeah. Is that just me, not just Nancy?
Maybe they've
And,
left town.
and again, that's what I'm like saying, right? We haven't signed off on the voucher yet, and, nobody's made that phone call, when the voucher is basically what we signed up so they get paid. At some point, I'm sure somebody's gonna want to get a check.
Can you get in contact with the DEP if they haven't kept up their end of the bargain? They're saying that the voucher was approved by the DEP. How could it be approved by the DEP if they haven't kept up on everything?
I think that actually goes through the operator of the facility. They keep up with that. So those people are keeping up on their work, because the facility is well-kept. Yeah, so, and
Okay, I see.
they pay that person.
Right.
That company.
To keep up on it.
Correct.
Right, well, this
Yeah.
is, I hope you make phone calls every single day. I'm off on Monday and Tuesdays. I'm good at nagging, so give me the number.
Can I quote you on that, Kathy?
Any other public comment tonight? You're good.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See everyone on March 11th.